Look at their fecal consistency. Have they had diarrhea? Does it look like nice raisinets? And I tell my clients, if you think they're anemic, if they're not bubblegum pink, and they're thin, and they have diarrhea, we need to do a fecal screen. I am not on the bandwagon of deworming all the time and even rotating. When I was showing in my 4-H days, that's all we did. We dewormed them once a month with something, and then we rotate to something else. Here you go, buddy. Let's put her back in there. You can untie them if you want to and just leave them loose. That was the dumbest thing we could have ever done. And not only that, when Cydectin came out, the pour-on for cattle, we started using that by mouth in our sheep and goats. And that was the dumbest thing we could have done too, because it was meant to go down the back of a cow, not the throat of a goat, is what I say. And so because of that, what has happened is we created a lot of resistance with our Cydectin, which is moxidectin, a really good dewormer. We also caused some scalding in the back of the throat of some of these sheep and goats too. So I get my hands on them once a month. I recommend that to my clients. If you have any ones that you think are thin or anemic or do not look good, check the fecal. Do a fecal. How you can do that is you can come out now, bud. You can take it to your vet, or I've got clients that do their own fecals, and we've trained them to do such. There is a fecal screening called the McMaster. Have you guys learned what the McMaster is? Have they done that yet? So McMaster is you take a gram of poop. So if you bring a sample to me and you mix it up in a sugar solution, I have a slide, microscope slide, that I will put that poopy solution in and get a quantitative number on how many parasites that sheep or goat are carrying. Typically, if they have over 800 eggs per gram of feces, depending upon the situation, I will deworm. I make note and I tell the client to what you dewormed with, and then that way we can keep up with what works and what doesn't. We like to recheck those fecal samples in about 7 to 10 days. And then we do the same thing. We have a quantitative number, and then we know the percentage of how effective that dewormer is. We are losing the parasite battle. We just are. Now, if you don't have a McMaster slide, you can still get a pretty good idea just doing the regular fecal, I usually say +4, +2, +3, however many. You can get an idea of how many eggs that you have. There is a website called wormx.info. It is wonderful. It's kind of a consortium of parasite management and whatnot. It talks about rotational grazing, which I know you're going to do that at Brandon's. I love that website. It's got great charts. Sheep and goats do not medicate the same in terms of your dewormers. Goats require a lot heavier load of our dewormers than sheep do. So, but I'm on the bandwagon where I don't deworm. My adult ewes I have not dewormed in about 6 or 7 years. Now my feeder lambs I've had to, which that's okay. But I went through a bad round about, I don't know, it's probably before Hatcher was born. He was 9, so at least 9 years ago, where I had several ewes that were very anemic. I dewormed them to death, and I got sick of it. So you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not going to keep genetics that promote. We want to have ewes that can tolerate parasites, because, these ewes are pretty chunky, honestly. If I did a fecal sample on them and their poop looks good, their famacha is good, and they have good body condition, I don't care if they have 15,000 eggs. I'm not going to deworm them because they tolerate it really, really well. But I have now bred to have them where they tolerate parasites, so like I said, I don't have an issue. But when I did before, I euthanized them or I sold them, and I did not keep their offspring.